Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Ask Mevo Anything. My name is Joseph. Thank you for joining me today. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're from. And of course, as always, I am joined by the great and the powerful Will Kirkpatrick. Well, how are you doing today?
What's up, man? Doing good, doing good. How you doing?
Good, good. I see you have a little bit of a new setup there. It's looking pretty great. I know you had a big move recently. So tell us a little about how you're setting, what your setup looks like today and what you got going on.
Yeah, so I thought first off that I would just pile up just every possible Logitech product behind me just for that nice added effect. And I'm using my Mevo Start. I'm using wireless webcam going into my Windows 11 PC. Let's see. I am also using this Blue Encore 300 microphone, which is connected to my Blue Compass arm. And the microphone is going into my Go XLR Mini, which is then going back out into the Mevo via 3.5 millimeter TRS cable. And I'm also using some Lytra glows to have this nice little lighting effect on my face.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it looks great. I think you did a great job.
Thanks, man.
A little high in the frame. A little high in the frame.
Behind the frame. It's the great part about
So,
me that I can just adjust via software.
yeah, right. Oh, so are you putting like a tad bit?
Mm-hmm. Because I
All
wanted
right.
us to be
Actually,
the
looks
same
really
height.
good. Yeah, I think it. Oh, there you go. Yeah. You know what? Let's spotlight you a little
Boom.
bit and take a look. Yeah, I think that fits the frame a lot better.
Right?
Yep.
Cool.
Nice job. All right. So my setup is pretty similar to Will's, except I'm using a wireless webcam setup. All right. Did you say wireless? You said wireless.
Yep. Wireless today.
Yes. So we're both going wireless. I have my blue baby bottle microphone coming through my normal chain, which is going to be a compressor. It's a DBX compressor that then do an audio mixer for my EQ and panning and things like that. Then it's being distributed to a headphone amplifier. So this is something I talk about a lot. I'm actually really into the headphone amplifier on Thursday when we do the audio show. But what I'm going to do with what that does is it allows me to distribute my signal from my audio signal to multiple Mevos if I wanted to. I'm also using Lytra Glow lights on my monitor in front here. So I have two. I have one set up on the left and the right. I've been messing with the Lytra Glows a lot lately as far as trying to find the right temperature for like my setup. And I think
Right.
it's not too bad right
No, it's solid.
now. So yeah, I think I like dialed it into like a nice spot that I'm comfortable with, I feel like. And as you know, like watch the show. I mean, we do the shows twice a week and we're like never happy with what we see. We're always trying to find ways to make it better, even if it's just a matter of a little bit more bright or a little bit tint as far as like the temperature and stuff like that. Every show I'm like, oh, I could have did that a little bit better. I could do that a little bit better.
Now, do you
So
do your
speaking of,
adjustments in G Hub or do you do them through using the buttons? Because I actually really like using the buttons. G Hub is really, really convenient and really nice if I'm like in a meeting and I need to make a slow adjustment. But when I'm doing the setup for the show, I do a lot of just kind of moving everything around.
I guess I always like being able to, I'll show you what it looks like. I like just change the fader, like the dials, like with the mouse. And like
Right.
the way my setup is my monitor is it's not far away from me, but like it's difficult for me to like I'd have to like get up and go reach behind there to kind of get to my lights and like climb over a bunch of equipment. Because behind what you see here is a mess, and I can show you a little bit better. But so that's why I like just use G Hub. Here, you know, it's just so simple to kind.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, a bit brighter. Kind of, I like things right here, right now. I'm happy with that. But so useful and so can.
Yeah, it really, really is.
Yeah. If this is your first time seeing us, or if you're just joining us, this is Ask Mevo Anything. We do these every single Tuesday, and this is a show where we come on to answer your questions. So whatever question you may have, please post them in the chats. You can find us at facebook.com, twitch.tv, or youtube.com at Mevo Camera. On Thursdays, we do Mevo Live, where it's just a little bit more extensive of a show, and I'll give you a hint as to what we're going to be coming up this week. That's not it. There we go. So this Thursday, we're going to be doing a multicam audio mixer demo. So we're going to show you all ins and outs of how to use different audio sources, the Multicam application. And then on the 31st of this month, we have a very special event that we're just going to kind of tease right now, but it's Multicam update adds a couple of cool features, one being Multicam to webcam. So now you can import the Multicam feed as a webcam input into your computer. You can now stream directly to Twitter, which we actually haven't tried yet. We got to try that, well, for sure. And
Yeah, definitely.
the new and improved advanced audio is what we're going to be talking about on Thursday. And the last thing I want to mention before we get into questions is if you want to kind of be on the forefront of what Logitech is doing and become a user tester, you can absolutely do that. And click on this link here. You can find this in the video, or Facebook and find it there. But you can become a user and you can test Unreal Linux, package. Okay, let's get at that, and let's meet. So Will is going to let's bring me here. Okay, so Will's taking care of some technical difficulties on his end. So while he does that, I'm going to dive into questions and get things going. It looks like we have plenty of chatter to start the day off. First one up, 2 o'clock on the dot. Fred the Hippo, thanks for joining us. Hello. Very happy to see that you're here. Of course, right behind him, not too far behind, Laser Les coming in. Good morning from Oregon. You know, I haven't been to Oregon yet. It's like I've been to a lot of the states in the country, but I have not been to Oregon yet, and it's definitely on my bucket list. I want to. Hey Les, if you have like suggestions for a trip out there, give me reasons I can talk my wife into taking a trip out there for sure. Wouldn't mind hearing him. Okay, let's see. Smirno, thank you for joining us on YouTube. And Smirno says, "Hello guys, hope you're having an amazing week so far. We are. A lot of things going on with us this week. Want to ask, any change in the Mevo single app will it get chroma background removal feature?" That's a great question. As of right now, the answer is no, but I'm not saying it's going to be something that will never happen. In app, I can see how that could present some issues. If you're using the webcam application, though, you could do that through Streamlabs. So if you have a computer available, and you can do it through there. But in app, it'll probably be a while before you see something like that. But thank you for that question. And let's see. All right. All right, Jim, what's going on? Jim, hello. 56 degree Chicago, finally. That's awesome. I mean, 56 is like hard summer weather in Chicago. I've spent a lot of time in Chicago. It is a cold place. Can we play some outside soon? Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the videos. I mean, I know you've been doing the travel stuff, but if you're doing stuff in the hometown, post them up. Let's check them out. All right, David. Hey, David, thanks for joining again. As always, I'm having problems with the multicam webcam. Okay, let's talk about it. Shoot us up. Let me know what you're seeing, what you're running into. Giving you a little bit more detail on that. If it's really extensive, you know the deal, David. You can go ahead and submit a ticket. help.mevo.com to get troubleshooting done, like more extensive troubleshooting. But if I can figure it out on the show today, I will. So give us some details on what those problems are. Let's see. RIKM 12, Reckham 12. Hi guys from the UK. Awesome. Thank you for joining us from across the pond. I appreciate it. Oh, Bahamas Industry. Bahamas in the house. I like to see it. I love how excited you guys get when you jump on. Definitely one of my favorite parts of the show. Jared, good to see you coming from Facebook. Interesting. What's up, y'all? Hope today is going well for everyone. Happy to see the latest Multicam app hits iOS finally. Good call out. So what Jared is referencing there is that Multicam update that I just mentioned. I want to say, 2 weeks ago, it came out for Android, and last week it came out on iOS. So we should be good for both platforms to use the Multicam update. Thanks for calling out. Okay, here we go. Yep. Twitch peeps checking in. Another good call out. If you're not following us on Twitch, we highly recommend it. We're going to try and do a lot more with Twitch this summer. We're trying to incorporate more of like the emojis and all the other advantages that you get for using Twitch. I personally think that Twitch has the best feed as far as video and audio. I think it just sounds best, looks best. You'll notice that if you open up our show right now on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, depending on your monitor, of course, you'll see differences. You'll see subtle differences in their compression algorithms, which could deteriorate color. It could it doesn't really do much for the audio, but it could definitely change the way the video looks as far as saturation is concerned. So let me know what you guys think as far as comparing that. I would love to hear your comments on that, comparing the Twitch stream to the YouTube stream and the Facebook stream. Try all of them out. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if we could pull Will in here. Will says he's good. I don't see him in the preview, but we're going to give him a shot. So hold on, Les. I'm going to answer that question in just a second. We're going to see if we can pull Will back into the fold here. Nope. Will, we got a Mevo screen. So we'll hide you until you can solve that issue. Well, so just so everyone knows, Will did he just completed a move, and he's still working out the kinks in his new setup. So, here he is. He's back. Let's see if we can pull him in here.
Nice. We're back.
How are we doing? Did we win?
I think so. I think we're good. I was
all right.
Having your video was a little bit choppy, and I was like, this is going to be a really awkward conversation because he's going to say something and I'm going to not be able to hear him.
Is it all good now? Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Should be good. It seems solid.
Okay. Well, let's continue. So actually, I'm glad you're here because we have a great question. I'm going to throw it to you just because why not? So LaserLess is asking on Twitch, when changing the latency for stream, will high give you, let's see, will high this give you best? I think I meant to write best there. If you have bad cell service or Wi-Fi, how much of a delay is it, or how large cache? Okay, so if you're using cell service or Wi-Fi, what would be the best latency of that?
If you're using cellular service, actually, it really depends in both scenarios what you're doing, like what you're filming or streaming or recording or whatever. If you're having a conversation and you're using multicam to go to your computer and doing Zoom, then high latency is not ideal, right? But if you're doing anything else, whether you're using cellular service or Wi-Fi, high latency is kind of the best way to go. Like, the only reason that it matters is if you're having a conversation with somebody back and forth and you need them to hear your response as soon as possible, basically. And then in terms of how much of a delay is high latency, I don't know offhand, but I think it's around, I think it's like, 5 seconds, 6 seconds?
It's a good question. I'd have to test it out because it depends on your. It depends. It has factors, right? It depends on your bit rate. It depends on your internet connection and how fast you're sending signal. So it could be up to 5 seconds. It could be 2 seconds. Anything over 500 milliseconds, or anything over 200 milliseconds is going to be a noticeable difference. As far as like given response. So yeah, it really just depends on what you're looking for there, Les. But I think you explained it well. If you're doing something stationary or you're doing something where it's just output only, and you're not having that back and forth, then put the high latency up because you're also going to give just everything more time to buffer before it sends feed. So it'll help with the quality as well.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Following up here on Les, he said, would it also just be safe to set it to high if timing does not matter? Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's 100%. That's exactly what we're saying. Yep. All right, baking potato. I love that. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Thank you for saying what's up and virtual hug. All right, real hugs.
Thanks for joining us.
LaserLess saying we have major on the stream. Let's see. Let me go back and check it.
Hopefully,
I'm looking at Will talk about latency. Sounds pretty good.
Doing better now. Maybe there was a little bit of latency in the beginning when I had before I had things fixed up. So it should be good.
I'm curious too. Well, I also noticed in Melon sometimes, like let's try and break Melon for a second here. switching back for you, and I'm kicking this over, and I'm going back to me. All this, what's happening to our feed right now? Because on our end, just so everyone knows, on our end, everything looks like it's changing smooth, but I could definitely see how some of that stuff might jumble or get pixelated for moments when we're doing that kind of stuff. So I'm going to come back and check that section. Let us know what happened there. All right. We have some other chatter. Sorry, guys. I'm just going through. What's up, Gordon? Thanks for joining. He's saying what's up to Lesson Jared. I just love the community here. It's like, we can come and just talk about tech. It's great.
Yeah, right. I'm looking forward to talking more and more about industry news as it comes out, whether it's, new products or new things that different CDNs are doing. Like I just saw that YouTube is doing now, if you're going to stream live on YouTube, your what is it called, buddy profile icon will have a red ring around it, which I think is really, really nice because YouTube is super useful for streamers, and their kind of their organization on the live page is just not very good. So like kind of to get that benefit of having people come to your stream via YouTube, you kind of have to hope that they're already on your page. But now YouTube is adding that live circle, so it lets everybody know that when they see your page, you're live, and so hopefully they'll join in. So that's a nice little addition.
Absolutely. Okay, so interesting question. We've gotten this set up before, and speaking of like the newer tech stuff, this person is using a lot of Apple stuff, so maybe we can help this out. So this is David's question. He was having some issues with Multicam. So Will, he says, using the iPad Air, a MacBook Air for Zoom, trying to set up a Bible study for Zoom, okay, going between cameras for some people in the room, got the video, but audio is echoing. Okay. I think I know what's going on. I realize the headphones to monitor, but I want others in the room to hear the Zoom participants. Please help. Okay. So what we need to do here is I need to know a little bit more about your setup. I see that you opened up a ticket, Dave. Maybe I'll ping the team and see if they could pull that out and just take a look at it. Only because if you're getting an echo and it depends on your setup. So it's hard to start because if you're speaking in a big room, right, and the microphones are all on and they're picking up audio, they're going to pick up everything. If you're then trying to send that back into the room, what's going to happen is you're going to get a feedback loop. So what you would need to do there is like you'd have to have a way to get a separate feed. I'm trying to. I really have to see the setup. I really would have to see the setup.
Could he use like a noise gate or something like that, suppressor or something?
Yeah, he could, but I don't know if that's going to help. Going between cameras for some people in the room, but the video and audio is echoing. See, if you're in a Zoom call and you're going between people in the room, if the room echoes, the room echoes. Like you're going to pick up reverb, right? What I would do there, David, is I would see if you can mic the individual people in a way where, like, whether it be lavs or whether it be even just like a handheld, like a SM58 or even something like what Will's using. If you could find a way to mic them, then you have a little bit more control over like the extraneous audio that's running through the room, and it won't feed back as much. That would be the only suggestion I have, because then you would have direct audio going straight to your stream, and you wouldn't be like picking up the entire room so much. So you may just have some audio things you might have to fix with that. So I'm getting calls out. I mean, Will, how am I doing? Do I need to refresh this feed here? Because they're saying I'm breaking up a little bit. But it might be Melon, because in our feed, everything's looking pretty nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, on Melon it looks all right. I haven't taken a look like on Twitch or YouTube yet, but just because I'm worried it'll break my entire network right now. But yeah, it looks pretty smooth in Melon.
Okay. All right, we'll fight through it and see what happens.
That's cool.
Okay. Let's check this one out from Fred the Hippo. Want to take this one, Will?
Yeah, Fred says, when Bing the multicam feed into when bringing the multicam feed into Zoom, does Zoom automatically accept multicam audio, or do you have to configure Zoom audio settings? Yeah, so think of it just like using anything with wireless webcam. So even if you had a single Mevo, it would be the same sort of principle. Once you set up your audio in the Multicam app, you have to set up Mevo camera in Zoom for your audio source and your video source. That's it. That's all you have to do. Just change the source to Mevo.
Sorry, I'm clicking buttons trying to figure some things out on Melon's side.
All good.
All right. Jonathan, thank you for joining us. Greetings from Scotland. Awesome.
Nice.
So I'm going to refresh. I'm going to go to your single will. I'm still getting too many comments here. I'm going to refresh my setup. Maybe my computer's a little overloaded right now. I got a lot of things open. Give me one moment. And why don't you go ahead and try to find a good question for you to talk about. Jim's always got good stuff. Be right back.
Nice. All right. Jim says a softball use case just got all right. Now I'm back. All right. Let me see if I can find that question in chat real quick. There we go. Softball use case. Game Changer now identifies hits while streaming and creates video clips for each player. A zoom in and out in multicam would be very helpful to secure the questionable hits or error. That's interesting. So I haven't used Game Changer that much, but it's interesting. So they'll be able to identify basically everything going on and then create clips, which is really, really cool. And then yeah, you can definitely do the zoom in and out in multicam, but I guess you're saying kind of instant cropping and zooming, just like the Mevo single cam app, I guess.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's certainly something that I know the team is looking at. I think that it's less of an issue about, being technically complicated and more of an issue of being um just a challenge to make sure that the UI is good, it's easy to use, doesn't overcomplicate things, that it works, well when you're on a phone or a smaller tablet, because the output window is so much smaller when you don't open it up into the full screen like you do now. So hopefully they'll figure it out, because I know a lot of people want it, but we want to do it right.
Absolutely. All right. Bob Krieger saying, good afternoon from Louisiana. How's it going down in the bayou? All right.
What's up?
Tom from Facebook, new Mevo Start user. Welcome to the club, Tom. Thank you for joining us. Do overlays support browser source input? Great question. So, Will, before we even answer that question, what is a browser source input?
So I'm assuming that they're talking about like something like the OBS browser source input, where you can kind of bring it directly in via the web page, just kind of like a graphic, like you would a regular graphic. So unfortunately, using just the Mevo apps, you can't bring in a browser source input, but you can certainly connect the Mevo or Mevo apps to your computer and then bring in a browser source input using OBS, VEMix, Ecamm, all that other stuff.
There you go. Good answer.
Or you could just take a screenshot of the web page and use that in the Mevo apps.
True. Yeah, but I guess if you need it to move, though, right?
I guess it depends on the page.
Yeah, like when we were doing the wheel, that's how we were bringing in the wheel, the spinning wheel of names. We were bringing that as a browser input. That was one of our setups were extremely complicated.
Overly complicated, for sure.
Overly complicated. All right. What's up, Pastor Daryl? Joining us today from Maryland. Man, we got a lot of states coming in. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hi, all Facebook. I was looking to see if the Facebook video was dropping out here. PS later less on Twitch. Oh, yeah. Oh, less. Oh, yeah. Let me know if it is. I just closed a bunch of applications and reset my browser. Because this is Melon is a browser-based platform, you do run into weird things. Hopefully, I'm coming through better now. Let me know. It's hard to tell because
Looking at
in our studio here, everything looks fine. Like
right.
as far as we know, it's all good. Okay. Sam has a great question, Will. He says, sorry if this was already answered. I don't think it was. Will there be a wired solution to bring multicam into a computer in the future? Interesting thought. I'm curious how you would even do that.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely just do like you could have the whole thing wired if you wanted, right? So you could have all of your Mevos wired via Ethernet, right, using the Mevo PoE or another
Mm-hmm.
PoE. And then you can have your tablet via Ethernet as well, and your computer on an Ethernet. So that should bring multicam into your computer all wired. That's probably the most secure way to go. I don't know how necessary that is, right? Like I guess it depends. Like if you have like a really problematic Wi-Fi network, um, but it is possible, right?
No, well, I mean, it depends on. It is possible doing it that way, sure. But if you're talking about like,
Mm,
if you want to use like a wired webcam, like for example, if you're doing wired webcam with one Mevo, you're plugging the Mevo directly into your computer, right?
right,
If you're doing multiple cameras, it's not like you can plug in like the device into the computer and get that feed.
right.
So,
Yeah,
so you would have to. But in that case, though, if that's what you're doing, you might as well just plug in 3 Mevos into your computer via USB, and then just you can use those wired webcam sources as sources in like Streamlabs.
right.
Um, that would be the workaround for that. As far as, but again, to your point though, like you could do it wirelessly. So now with the wired webcam application, a wireless webcam application with the multicam app. So as long as you're on the same network, you don't necessarily need to be wired with that.
Yeah.
But it's a good question.
I'm curious
Dell's
what
got my
your use
back.
case is, Sam.
Yeah, Sam, let us know how you're using it for sure.
Yeah.
Dell's got my back. It appears things are cleared. Yeah, I guess it could have just been a
Nice.
browser glitch. Chalk it up to Chrome, let's say. Tim Phillips coming in from Snellville, Georgia. Did I say that right? Snellville, Georgia.
Nice.
This is
Man,
great, Les.
everywhere.
Never have 100 tabs open in Chrome. Now, Les, if you knew me more, you would know that this is one of my biggest pet peeves, and I frequently give our boss a hard time about this because he always
Yeah,
has
man.
100 tabs open.
It's crazy. I don't know how he finds anything.
I don't know how he finds. Shout out to JP.
Yeah.
He does great work, but like I don't know how he organizes it.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Oh, we got some more information from Fred the Hippo here. Oh, he's just throwing up some stuff here. He says, for my streams, I have all my mics going to my mixer and then send the mixer feed to the Mevo and some speakers. Perfect. Is there a way to adjust individual mic inputs only for the headphone out on the mixer? Fred, I love this question because the answer is yes, depending on the mixer. Does your mixer have an auxiliary output feature? So essentially I wish I had a way to show that right now. I don't. Well, I can expand on this next week, Fred, for you in way more detail. But if your mixer has an auxiliary out, what essentially you could do is you can send a separate headphone mix out and then a separate house mix out. Now, this is very useful, especially if you're recording like a live venue or live concert, because the house mix isn't always going to be the same as the in-house mix, as the auxiliary mix, right? Because if you're sending it to a feed, let's go for me on this one. So if you're sending it to a feed, on a stream, having that auxiliary mix will allow you to kind of adjust certain things. So let's say you have a singer, 2 guitar players, a bass player, and a band, and a drummer, right? But you want that singer to kind of be above them on the feed mix. You can absolutely do that with your auxiliaries. Whereas the house mix, let's say you're playing a venue, they're going to be tuned to whatever the house is tuned for, right? So whatever levels or ratios they're using is going to be so it sounds good in the house. But you can absolutely take a separate feed out of your mixer into your Mevo. And I'm going to go over that a lot on Thursday for sure. Oh, we switch spots. There we go.
Yeah, I'm
Virgil's
looking
coming
forward to
in.
that show.
Yeah, I'm too. It's going to be a lot of fun. Virgil on Twitch. What's up, everyone? Sorry for being late. Unacceptable. Okay, we start at 2 o'clock, Tuesdays and Thursdays. No excuses, Virgil. No excuses.
You're there. Gotta be there, man.
No worries. Thank you for joining. We appreciate it. All right. Let's see here. Oh, this is great. Oh, see now they're gonna jump on you, Virgil. We don't accept tardiness here on Ask Me About Anything. All right, let's
Got
see.
people all over the world. It's really nuts. You know what we need? We need calling out
Like a
Daniel
map with the
real
pins
quick.
on it.
But yeah, yeah, exactly. That would be sick.
All right, so I'm just scrolling through some of the chatter. So if you're on Twitch, you get a lot of chatter on Twitch and a lot of cool cyber conversations right now. What they're discussing is like what computers they use for their feeds. I'll give you an example. So I think this is Jared right here. Is talking to Les, saying he has over 120 tabs open in Chrome right now and transcoding 4K video. Bananas. Bananas.
How much
But he's
RAM do
also
you have?
using.
That's the real question.
Well, let's go ahead and I'll tell you. He's using a MacBook Pro with an i9 hex core and 64 gigs of RAM. This will definitely help that. I am not using that.
That'll do it. Yeah.
Maybe that's something we need to do, Will. Maybe we need to lobby Logitech to get us some extensive streaming computers for our
I
feeds.
mean, I've been saying this for months. I am always down for a more powerful computer.
Oh, you're saying it's come up. Virgil coming from Maryland. Oh, thanks, Virgil from Maryland. Also nice. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right now, the weather here in New York is actually like 60 something degrees outside, which is like I can go to the beach and go swimming right now compared to what we've been dealing with. So it is really nice. It's good to see spring is here and coming in.
Yeah.
George on Facebook, thank you for that. Definitely appreciate it. Here we go. Fred the Hippo, always coming with the hard questions. Will, what would you recommend he does? Actually, yeah, go for it. Go for it. Sorry.
Sure.
I fall into my hosty rhythm.
I know. It's all good. All good. Fred says, what would you recommend I do if I want to bring multicam with 3 Mevos into OBS and also bring in 2 NDI Mevos while avoiding lag between the 2 feeds? Well, yeah, that is a good one. And it's definitely tricky to do, right? Like, no matter what, you're going to have some delay, right? And some delay between the two also. So you'll have multicam and all of those will come in, and depending on what you set your latency to, that may come in faster or slower. But say you set it to like ultra low latency, right? That's going to be the least amount of latency. Then you'll have the NDI sources coming in, and those will likely not be synced up, the multicam and NDI. So you'll have to take advantage of OBS, the ability to delay the video or delay the audio so that everything is synced up. But it also depends if you need everything to be synced up. You know, there's some people that have multiple cameras that are pointed at the same thing, and in that, for that reason, you do need things to be synced up. But you know, if you're covering different subjects with different cameras or different feeds, then it may not need to be all synced up, right?
Yeah. I think that's the overall caveat to everything we talk about is what are you trying to do? Like, what is the purpose? Right. Because you may not need certain scenarios that you don't have to bother yourself with when you're doing your streams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what you said there was dead on. And if you want to, Fred, just to pull that back up for a second. I lost it. Oh, there you go. The way to really, if you really want to like get into this, have your feeds come in, record something, just record noise, some type of talking, something you can see sync on. What you can then do is you can bring that into another program, Fred. I know you use a lot of stuff, so I don't know if you have anything like Premiere or Final Cut or any even type of any type of audio software that you can bring in a video. Because what you could do in those programs is you can play your video and have a separate audio track, and then you can actually see the exact amount of latency that's happening. And then, so let's say you have a video feed, and then you have your audio feed on the bottom in your editing software. When it plays and you sync it up, when you move that audio back or forward, it'll tell you exactly how much you have to move it by, maybe 100 milliseconds, maybe 200 milliseconds. Once you figure that out, you can go back into Streamlabs or OBS or whatever you're using and put those parameters in to adjust for the sync. And then from then on, everything should be perfectly synced. Now that's a longer way to do it, but it's how you do it perfectly. Or you can just rely on the program to hopefully sync it up for you. But couple of things there, but it's a great question. Sync is the number one issue with any type of streaming video and audio, and it's the first thing people notice that's wrong. Like they'll notice your sync is off before your
Yeah.
video feeder's messed up or something. So cool. Thanks for that question. Definitely
People are
gives us a
also
lot to think about.
less tolerant when it comes to audio issues than they are video issues. Video people are very used to having like random pixelations, skips, but if that audio is struggling, then people won't watch.
Here's another question from Fred. I love what he's asking here. Since there is a way to connect the multicam application to OBS, Zoom, etc., can the developers use that same concept to reverse it, right? And get OBS Zoom back into multicam? So what you're talking about here is bringing in an outside video source. And I can say on this, it is something that definitely has come up. Over the next year, the stuff that you're going to see with multicam is going to be pretty incredible. So we're getting there slowly, but we're getting there, and it's starting to pick up, as you can see with the latest update. So this isn't something that's outside of the realm of possibility, Fred. It's just not developed just yet, but it's definitely something we do want to look into.
Yeah, it's on our coming soon page, right? That's NDI in and out. If you have NDI in and out, then you can take a feed from OBS, you can take a feed from Zoom or Skype, you can do images, graphics, videos, anything.
Yep. So it's on the radar for sure, Fred. So thanks for being ahead of us a little bit. Actually.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Good afternoon from the British Virgin Islands. Hi, Blake. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. We do appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Here's a comment here from Zixi Digital Media. I second the wired multicam into computer, OBS, Zoom, etc. The wireless beta works, but I want to limit the inherent latency in the wireless solution. Yeah, I mean, it's a good call out. It's a good call out for sure. And we've the latency with the wireless solution. It's just such a long conversation.
Yeah, but also, what you mentioned before is like if you want to have a wireless option, or if you want to have a wired option, then why use multicam? Like I'm really curious about the use case that you would want to use wired multicam and wired Mevos, but not just, or I guess, yeah, why would you want to do that? Because even if you have wired going to multicam, which is not really possible, but like even if you did have it, you would still have a little bit of latency there, and then from multicam to the computer there would be more latency. So even if you could do wired webcam across the board, then you would run into issues, right, with latency?
I would have to think so. Yeah, I'd have to think it would be almost like double latency. Like you'd get the latency between the three cameras getting to the app, and then from the app to the program. So like you're jumping through hoops you don't have to jump through when you could just go hardwired with three cameras, USB into your computer, and just do that and just use those 3 shots in Streamlabs or OBS or whatever you need.
Right.
I could see in Zoom. Yeah, it's an interesting take, because I'm trying to think of where would you come from? Would you come from the tablet? Would you come from one of the Mevos? Right? You'd have to come from the tablet or phone.
Come from the tablet, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So maybe we can run that by Nate and see what he thinks about it. But I do like the conversation behind it, though. All right, George is saying that is how we send our mix out in our service. I'm guessing he's talking about what we were talking about earlier with the auxiliary mixes.
Okay. Nice.
Ballooning on Mars. We haven't seen you in a while. Hi from Namib. Say that for me, Will.
Namibia.
Where is that?
I have no idea, honestly.
Let's find out.
I gotta have like Google Earth pulled up on a second computer, and we'll bring in that source next show.
We're bringing the source to zoom in.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a country in Southern Africa. Well, welcome to the show. Man, I love that we go global.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Look at this. Rob, Did you really? Did you really? The Mac Studio? It's
Wow,
pretty
I
awesome.
am real
I'm
jealous.
jealous. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Okay. Here we go. Ballooning on Mars chiming in. Yep, absolutely. You can measure the deal. I guess it's saying details between sources in Final Cut Pro X. Yeah. So if you have access to that, you can absolutely do that. And like that's what I was discussing before, as far as measuring exactly how much latency you have, so you can compensate for it on the back end. All right. So my chat reset itself. So I'm gonna scroll through. Will, shout out some times if you want me to pull something up here.
Yeah, let's see.
All right. It reset itself a couple of times, so I'm doing a lot of scrolling right now. But I think I'm
Yeah,
almost back. There you go. Virgil just saying NDI in would be epic. Yeah, we agree. We agree, and we're working on it. I will say this though. We went on last year. We went on like an NDI tear, where we were just trying to use NDI for literally everything. Like we were using NDI to sync our audio. We were using NDI bridge. We were using just NDI in different capacities as far as HEVC, H.264. The possibilities with NDI are just incredible, but it
yeah,
really depends on what you need it for, right? And I think that's been the core of today's conversation. Has been like, what are you actually doing? Like, what do you need to happen? Because certain things work better and for some things, and certain things work better for others. But I do agree, NDI would be insane to pull that into the Mevo app.
yeah. I was getting really into NDI myself, and especially there was so much hype with NDI 5 and NDI Bridge,
Yep. Yeah.
and while like I think that there are definitely a few good use cases for it, I think unless you have like an extreme amount of control and a use for it, then like it may not be the best.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Bill. You could take this one here.
Yeah, I get it. Wanted to stream multicam into a YOLO box from the tablet phone to use the YOLO box video playback as well. Interesting. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah. But the YOLO box so he's talking about wired right here?
Yeah, because the yellow box is a HDMI input.
Oh,
So
so not even wired USB, wired HDMI. So HDMI from multicam. Got it. Well, I
which
mean, it would
yeah.
what?
No, I was off. I was off. I was thinking you could just because you could just go mirror through HDMI with like Androids, but you wouldn't
Yeah,
have a program out to mirror. Like it wouldn't be an actual like full quality program out.
yeah.
It's a good thought though.
Yeah, it
It is
is.
an interesting thought. We're gonna sit on that one, Zixi. All right. You're welcome. All right. Trying to track through some of the chatter. This is an interesting thought. Maybe multicam wire to PC would mean a new app for PC, Mac. Hmm. Interesting. I mean, I guess essentially that's kind of what you're asking for, right? It's just like the multicam app on the computer,
Right.
essentially, right? Almost like Live Stream Studio. It's just basically having that set up and then have your multicam input be wireless. Could do that. Um, yeah, I mean, it's it's funny because Will and I were having this conversation the other day. It's we're trying to find ways to really like tell people and market the Mevo, right? We're trying to help. What are people looking for? Like, who is this for? Originally, the Mevo was just meant to be a mobile streaming camera where you could just all you need is a phone, the camera, boom, you're set to go for streaming. But we've just developed it so much that now it's becoming something else.
Yeah. 100%.
All right. So while we wait for a couple more, yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying there. So while we wait for a couple more questions and keep them coming, I'm just gonna do some house cleaning here. Let's do melon hotkeys. Shift D. Perfect. All right. So what you're watching is Ask Mevo Anything, and let's get rid of that banner too. And we do these shows Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern every single week. We are on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube at Mevo Camera. And what we've been talking about a lot today is the Multicam 1.4 update, which gives us a lot of new improvements for the Multicam application. So we're talking Multicam wirelessly to your computer using the webcam app. We haven't really mentioned it too much, but you can absolutely stream directly to Twitter. I would love to hear if anyone has tried that yet and what was your experience like. And then the new and improved advanced audio mixer, which we're actually going to be discussing in great detail this Thursday. So here's the upcoming shows we have set up. This Thursday, we're going to use the Multicam and audio mixer in a very extensive demo. And then next week, we're going to show you how to use Multicam in cooperation with Streamlabs. So we've talked about that a lot today, Will, about bringing Multicam into Streamlabs. So maybe give us a little preview about what that show is going to entail. What would be some good use case scenarios for why you'd want to bring Multicam into Streamlabs?
Yeah, I mean, so there are definitely a bunch of cool uses that that would really highlight that feature, right? So like, what if you're doing something and you have a pretty low powered computer and bringing in 3 cameras via wired webcam or NDI or something like that, that's going to be too much for your computer. Now, this is rarely the case because OBS is pretty light and Streamlabs is pretty light as well. But it never hurts to save on some computer power. It also may be good if you are doing something like you're gaming or something like that, where it's taking up a lot of your computer power and you want to be able to do the switching on the tablet or on your phone in Multicam. It's way lighter on the computer and it's also easier to do if you've got a full screen game going on. Another use, maybe you're completely mobile, right? Like if you need to be moving around your venue, or if you're the one giving the speech and you need to be walking around with your phone and you're switching cameras like that. So basically you have OBS and just OBS is doing all the work. So that's just streaming things out, right? And then Multicam is doing all the processing of the cameras and switching and doing graphics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I think
I mean, I
what
think
was the other
that's the
one?
best way to go.
Yeah, the other one was controlling that bandwidth. So like if you wanted
Yes.
to control your bit rate, because I know a lot of people want to do that specifically when they're streaming to like YouTube or Restream, where they get that warning where they're like, this is not exactly what we're looking for bit rate wise.
Yep. No, I think that's a good answer. I'm looking forward to setting that up and messing around in Streamlabs with the Multicam app.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of extreme, which is always fun.
All right, so we got a question here. TCB in a flash says, "Hey guys, what's the difference between the line in and mic in option in the Multicam 1.4? I'm using a battery powered shotgun with a 3.5 millimeter to start and notice the difference in audio between differences between audio between the two. Sorry. So what you're referencing here is this input. As you can see, this is the Multicam app. If you don't know, so when you connect the 3.5 millimeter input into the back, it'll give you 2 options. You have line level and you have mic level. Line level is looking to accept any type of stereo signal that's line signal. So something, for example, something out of a mixer. This would not be what you would use for a direct mic input. However, if you're using something that's a powered mic, a shotgun, right? So like a Rode or something like that, chances are the output of that is going to be technically a stereo line level signal, depending on the mic you use. So if your mic output, let me word this correctly. If the jack that you're using to plug into the Mevo is coming directly from your mic and it is a mono jack, then you're going to want to switch this over to the mic level. But if it's a stereo input where it actually has the 2 rings on it, then you're going to want to use the line level stereo because the mic you're using is designed for that. And most powered mics will be designed for that as well. So most like on like DSLR, like something like this, like the DSLR mics that go on the top,
Right.
this is actually a line out because they're powered from the camera. So it's actually not a mic signal. But I rarely use the mic line in signal. I rarely have a case where I'm actually plugging a mic directly into the Mevo. Generally, that mic is going through some type of preamp or some type of interface or some type of audio mixer. But to your point, yeah, just go with whatever one sounds better. Because you'll get signal out of both, but chances are you're going to want to use the stereo line in. Also, make sure you're not using a TRRS connection, because that will give you nothing. It won't work. So you need to use either a mono connection or a stereo connection on your input. Cool. I like this, Laser. All right, so his thought on this is how to market the Mevo. The Mevo is really a Swiss Army knife for video pros that has many needs. It's a great way of putting it, because it
Yeah.
is kind of like a Swiss Army knife. You can do a lot with the Mevo.
That's a really
Gordon is
good point.
chiming in. Yeah, right. It's like, in case of emergency, just pull out a Mevo and see what you got. You'll get somewhere with it.
Yeah, and this was actually part of that topic in the conversation that we had the other day with marketing. Is they're just kind of
Yeah.
trying to figure out the lane that is kind of represented the least. They're like,
Yeah.
the Mevo is great for this kind of creator, this kind of creator, this kind of creator. Like, it's great for so many things, and that becomes problematic for marketing.
Yeah, I mean, like, what is a chef, a gamer, and a fitness instructor have in common? They all can use a Mevo to do their stream, right? So it's not like we're going to one person or one style, which is, it's a good problem to have. I would say it's a good problem to
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
100%.
All right. All right. So this is David Lucas. Dave, how you doing? He's saying video clips, 6-second intros possible when we use overlays for intros, but would love to cut in 6-second intros and closings and stuff like that. I agree. And that is something we're trying to work on. We're trying to bring in like animated or video overlays into the app. Obviously, there's a lot to that. So there's going to be some probably limitations as far as like, file sizes and things like that. And that's all getting worked out. But it is something we're trying to do. It's a good suggestion, Dave. Thank you. All right. Well, you go ahead and take this one here from Blake on YouTube.
Yeah, let's see. So Blake says, is there any potential for a preview program out via USB-C to HDMI adapter from Android or iPad device? That's a good idea. I think it's probably, in terms of just like, not necessarily what the team is able to do or anything like that, but I think in terms of just overall device limitations, it's a little bit harder on iOS. iOS, from all of my experience with iOS, can only output whatever's on the screen. Android, however, can output something different. So Android, say if you want to have like a Samsung tablet and you want to use Dex or something like that, like Android can do
Right.
that, where it's not the exact, yeah, I know it's not great, but it's not the exact screen, right? So that would be really cool. I think it'd be very difficult to do, but that would be really cool. Certainly possible.
I agree. Okay, Les read this on Facebook today. Someone was looking for a solution using 3 Mevos and Racetrack. Is that a program? Is that a program you know about?
No.
And a wireless solution. What you guys think? Les, I'm not sure what you mean. Are they filming a racetrack, or is that something that we need to know about? Let me know.
Yeah. I've certainly seen people in the Facebook group that do stream racetracks. I think, it's obviously difficult depending on where you want the cameras located, just because of the distance, right? It's like trying to do a football field.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your access points, right? So if you have if you're doing like a pro racetrack, they'll likely have access points on every pole, just because they have to communicate and send stuff, during the race. So I'm sure they have some pretty
Right.
decent connections. But if you're on like a local, drag track or something like that, you're probably not going to have that. So at that point, LTE is the option for that for sure. Depending on how strong your signal is. Race car track, 5 miles each camera wireless connection. Oh, okay. Yeah, you followed up. Yeah, so like Zach said, 0.5 miles each camera wireless connection. Yeah, I mean, if you have the network available, like if you have the towers in the area to run that, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Right.
Just so people know too, cell phone towers are generally 3 miles apart. That's just a fun fact. They're actually going to get further away as the signal gets stronger with like 5G and 6G when that comes out. But as of right now, it's a soft handoff from tower to tower, this could cause issues too. So if you're going over a big area, and let's say there's a tower on one end and there's a tower on another, and they're both a mile and a half away, you might be pinging both towers, which could cause some congestion as well. So just you got to know the area. Like when you're using LTE, you need to know a lot about the signal and what you're working with. All right, cool, man. Let's see if we got. We'll do this one. This will be the last one of the day because it looks like we're getting spammed.
Same person.
Yeah. All right. So this is from Freddie. I haven't seen this name before, so on Facebook, Freddie. So thanks for chiming in and asking a question. Appreciate it. Is there a distance for where NDI or even wireless webcam will not connect or / work properly? Wi-Fi is indeed present everywhere. Also, their line of sight is just very far away. So there is no line of sight, and you just need to be within 100 feet from your access point. For NDI, if everything's connected to the same network, it shouldn't matter at all. Like, so I could have a camera in my basement. I can be connected to my network in my backyard and see NDI. Like, that wouldn't be a big deal. If you're doing like an event venue, right? A lot of those network, if you're hooking up to that network, you could be on the other side of the building. Like, didn't we have NDI cameras in New Lab? We had them hooked up like literally on every corner of the building, and that's a pretty big building. We were able to have no issues with that. So yeah, as long as you're connected, you shouldn't have to worry about distance at all. Just make sure you're within 100 feet from your access points.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything on that? I think that was pretty straightforward.
No, as long as you've got the coverage, you're solid. And obviously, it depends on the Wi-Fi network, like you mentioned. If the Wi-Fi network is, a venue or something like that you don't have control over, even if it has coverage over those 100 feet, like still may not work. Just because it's just locked down.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell you what, let's close it out. We got one, but he took the time to write it, so I'm going to take the time to read it. So he says, I am a racer and currently own a Mevo Start for car camera use. I work with Racing Series, and we are considering using Mevos for the race broadcast cameras. That would be sick. My initial plan was to have a camera plus a phone combo for each location around the track and stream separate YouTube channels. Then I would grab all the live streams via OBS, laptop, bring them all together. That's definitely a good option. With voice and over audio, that's cool. So you're not actually worrying about like any type of lag between real life and YouTube. You can pull the YouTube feed direct and just voice over it. This would require multiple phones with data plans, however. Yeah, I mean, it depends how big the track is. I guess because you'd have to have the LTE connection needs to be close to the Mevo, right? That's like 50 feet or something like that.
Right, but also, they have to be synced, which is another huge difficulty, right? So if you have one camera and it's capturing the car going here, and then you have another camera and the car gets to the edge of this camera, but there's delay on this camera, then it'll kind of like the timing will be off. Like it won't be jumping from one camera to the other. It'll be going a little bit.
It depends on the track, I guess, and see like where and where your angles are and stuff like that. Because even like if you watch races on TV, like if you watch like F1 or something like that, like you're only watching a half a second of footage, right? Because it's just
right,
and it moves on. So it's not like you're hanging on anything. And if you're doing voiceover, you don't really have to worry so much about the sync because you're just doing voiceover. I'm trying to think if there's a better way to do that than what he says here. I mean, I think that might be the best way. Unless there's Wi-Fi around the track, some type of network set up around the track. But if there's not, if it's like open, track racing, then yeah, you're gonna have to have some type of LTE set up for each camera for each leg of the race.
Yeah, and you could go like an RTMP to an RTMP server for OBS. But still, to do that, you would need cell signal for each one of the Mevos. Yeah,
that's a tough one. It would be cool to set it up. You're really just kind of just stuck with whatever you have as far as your network is offering you in that case.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Whew. Oh yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, man. That was great. I think we had a lot of questions today, man.
Yeah. It's crazy. I was reviewing shows yesterday, and it's around like 30 questions that get answered per show, and that's not even all of the questions that are answered. So it's like an average of 2 questions or a
2
question
minutes
every
per
2
question.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. I'm curious to see how, you know what I'd be curious to see? Our answer accurate percentage. Because I know it's not
Yeah,
100. It's definitely,
definitely.
I'd say high 90s. I think we're pretty
Yeah,
much
for
on point
sure.
in most cases. You know, a
Yeah.
little pat on the back for us.
Thankfully, it's not like tickets where we're the very last line of defense.
Yeah, we're just getting yelled at.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think that's it for today's show. I want to thank everyone for joining, posting your comments, engaging with us twice a week. It's awesome. We love it. It's a lot of fun. So with that being said, we are going to be at you again this Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern on all the channels. We're going to be talking the Mevo audio mixer. That is the plan for Thursday. So if you have questions, you want to get them ready for Thursday. That's all we're doing. I can't wait to get there. And I guess we'll see you next time. Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody.